We know Taysom Hill is gone. We know Cam Jordan is in limbo. And neither the Saints nor Alvin Kamara has been definitive on the future of the star running back. Demario Davis is with the Jets. What the hell is going on here? It's clear that the Saints are in the middle of a youth movement. It just took us a while to realize how necessary that it was. Let's discuss that along with the return of Coach O. Go Tigers. As we wonder about if he will be able to share the spotlight with Lane Kiffin. They need a really, really big spotlight. Zach Ewing is here to discuss it all, and Gabe has our poll question. I'm sure he'll also leave us all smiling as we head into the holiday weekend. So let's start this show and have a little fun on the Friday edition of the Dattitude podcast.
Ready to hear the straight scoop on local and national sports? It's time for Jim Derry's take on the Saints, LSU, what betting lines to ponder, and more. He's got opinions, he's got insight, and he's got Dattitude. And he'll always tell you the way it is, or at least the way he thinks it is.
Where you at, Dattitude family? Y'all ready for the 3-day weekend? I know you got everything ready. You got the hot dogs, you got the hamburgers, you got the grill ready to go. Oh, wait. You got the bad weather coming. It's gonna pour. Is it gonna ruin? It's not gonna ruin my Memorial Day weekend. You know why? Because I'm gonna take some time off. I need some time off. So I don't care if it rains, if it freezes, if it 90 degrees outside. I don't care what's going on. I see sleep in my future. What about? Oh wait, we got to do something. What do we have to do first? Oh, never mind. We got some business to take care of first. It's called Dattitude, episode number 508, presented by Evangeline Securities for a Monday. For Monday. See, I'm already thinking about the holiday. For a Friday. There we go. May the 22nd, 2026. In case you're new here, my name is Jim Derry. I've been in the New Orleans sports media scene for 35 and a half years, and I'm here with you today to welcome you in to the Dattitude family. Thank you so much for being here. What is on today's show? Well, I have already told you what's on today's show. I'm going to talk about it again. How about out with the old, in with the new? That is the theme of today's show. We're going to be talking Saints, whatever else that comes up about Saints. You know as well as I do, we don't necessarily stick to the title slide. That's just kind of like, for the new people, we talk about whatever comes up. But that will be the kind of the theme of today. And I'm going to get into, I wrote some stories this week. Obviously, we talked about Taysom Hill being gone. We told you a couple weeks ago that there were moving pods in his driveway. We asked Zach what he thought. And, earlier this week, then Garland Gillen and Noah.com and everybody else under the sun were writing about how Taysom Hill's house was for sale. Well, we told you a couple weeks ago that he was going to probably be moving. I mean, some people are kind of clinging to hope and say, maybe it just means he's moving to a different house. Yeah, and maybe I'm going to be the Easter Bunny next year. I'm not talking about the Easter Bunny you see in the mall. I'm talking about the real Easter. Maybe I'll be the real Easter Bunny. I'll show up at your house with a little bag of eggs. That'll make you put moving pods in your driveway. Anyway, look, Taysom's gone. Cam is out there with an offer. It's probably whatever I don't know. What is the minimum for somebody who's been in the league for 46 years? I have no idea. Gabe, if you get a chance, look up what is the minimum for a 15-year vet. I have no idea what it is. And then a 15-year NFL vet. Because my guess is that's what they're offering Cam. We're going to talk about that. Alvin Kamara, I mean, y'all could say what you want about what he said on Teron Armstead's show. I never heard once that, I can't wait to come back to the Saints. Didn't hear it. You know why I didn't hear it? Because it didn't happen. And meanwhile, we hear from the Saints, we love Alvin. We love all of our running backs. Doesn't say anything about Alvin Kamara coming back. What do y'all think about it? I know some of y'all have made it clear what you think. We're going to talk about that this morning with Zach Ewing of NOLA.com, who's here just about every Friday. He doesn't take a break. Well, maybe he does after the show. Maybe he'll take a break. We'll see what he's doing this weekend, what his thoughts are on the Saints. We'll also talk about a little bit about LSU. Coach O coming back. What did y'all think about that? Judging by how many people watched the short that I put up this week, or when it happened, what was that, 2 days ago now, huh? Wednesday night. having Wednesday night. But look, I didn't realize when I first put up the breaking news how little money Coach O is. Did y'all hear how much he's making to do this gig? Making $100,000. I mean, Gabe makes more than $100,000 to help me with this show. I mean, $100,000. Come on, man. So, in other words, he's going to be there. He's going to help with recruiting. Maybe it was made a bigger deal than it's actually going to be. I mean, I thought at first, like, maybe he's going to take Frank Wilson's role, be a part of it sounds to me like he's just almost coach emeritus sort of thing. So anyway, we'll get into that with Zach and see what he has to say. Before we get any further into the show, there are a few things that I want to talk about. We're going to give you the poll question in just a minute, but breaking news, if you didn't hear it this morning, some sad news, and we don't talk about auto racing a whole lot on the show, but certainly our hearts go out to the family of Kyle Busch. The Associated Press reporting that he died Thursday after being hospitalized. Sounds very briefly. No cause of death was given. According to the AP, earlier in the day, the family said he was hospitalized with a severe illness, in quotes. He'd been scheduled to compete in the Coca-Cola 600 this weekend at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. According to the AP, became responsive testing a Chevrolet simulator in Concord, North Carolina on Wednesday and was transported to a hospital in Charlotte. Kyle Busch was the younger brother of NASCAR Hall of Famer Kurt Busch and was 41 years old. We certainly give him a dat salute this morning and say RIP, and thinking about him and his family again this morning. That is a tough loss to the sport of auto racing, and 41 years old. I can't imagine. So I'm sure as we go along, we'll find out more about what happened to him, but he just became unresponsive and a severe illness. Anyway, just prayers and heartfelt thoughts go out to the family of Kyle Busch. Also, this morning, before we get to the poll question, apparently Matthew Stafford isn't going anywhere anytime soon. Did y'all see this morning or yesterday? An extension. Sorry, Ty Simpson. Matthew Stafford got a 1-year extension for $55 million. That makes him his contract run through the 2027 season and an average of $52.5 million per over the course of his career. That would now equal, if he makes it through 2027 and the contract stays intact, he would have made $513 million over the course of his career. $500 million billion dollars over the course of his career. That would be the most ever. Now, I know, I believe Patrick Mahomes, if he makes it through his contract, I think will surpass that. But assuming he retires at the end of the 2027 season, which he may or may not, I think he's 30. I think he's 38 years old. That would be the most ever. $513 million over the course of your career. My mama said I should have been a quarterback. Maybe I should have been a quarterback. Anyway. All right, let's get to we're going to talk. That's going to come up because I'm going to ask Zach about that as well. And if y'all want to bring that up, what do you think about Matthew Stafford? 500. Was he worth 500? It's a pretty good quarterback. Is he worth $513 million? What's on your mind this morning? We're going to give you our poll question today. We talked about this earlier in the week, and we were going to do it Wednesday, but what came up? Whatever came up. We had breaking news on Wednesday, and I don't even remember. I can't remember what I ate for breakfast this morning. Oh, I didn't eat breakfast. I didn't have time. But we're going to do this on Wednesday, and so we postponed it to today. But we were talking, and remember we were talking about the Red Zone channel and how many games people watch, and UBN and I were talking about it. Gabe talks about he's got his Texans on, and he watches other games. I know UBN's got 5 screens on in his man cave. I've usually got a 4-box on when the Saints aren't at home and I'm home. I got the Saints in the top right corner of the quad box. I got the Red Zone on in one spot, and then I got 2 other games on underneath. So I figured that, and I'm being conservative when I say of the 272 games each season, I probably watch live, and this is being conservative, I'd say somewhere in the neighborhood of 250 to 260 games per year. Now, last year, it was probably closer to 270. There were only a couple games that I can think of off the top of my head where I didn't see a minute of it live. Now, I'm not saying I don't sit down and watch. Obviously, you can't watch 272 games live. It's you can have them on, but you can't really pay attention to all of them. So the question this morning is, of the 272 NFL regular season games, how many do you watch at least? We'll say the minimum is you got to watch at least 5 minutes live out of 272. How many do you watch live? Is it worth it to get the NFL Sunday ticket for you? Do you get just get the Red Zone channel? Do you not care about any of that? So we have narrowed it down to this. We only want 4 responses. So as usual, you type in just the number 1, just the number 2, just the number 3, or just the number 4. What is your answer? Out of 272 NFL regular season games, how many do you watch at least 5 minutes of? Do you watch at least, we've already got a response. Do you watch at least 250 or more? That's the number 1. Type in the number 2 if you watch between 100 and 249. Type in the number 3 if you watch just primetime in the Saints, which is less than 100. You just watch whatever's on TV, you watch the Saints and whatever else is on TV, and that's less than 100. Or type in the number 4 if you only watch the Saints. I turn on, I watch the Saints, and if the Saints aren't on, I go about my business and I feed the pigeons, or I go to the store, or whatever else you might do. Doesn't matter. It's okay if you only watch the Saints. I mean, this is a Saints-centric show, and that's cool. So we're getting our responses. We'll keep that up for a little bit. We invite you to vote in the poll as we do each day here on Dattitude. We have a new poll question. That is part of what we do. We've been doing that for about a month now. You know what else we've been doing for over a month is Dat Date. We've been kind of reformatting Dat Date a little bit. And so we're going to do Dat Date a little bit similar to the way we've been doing it. I'm going to give out the birthdays. We have a couple local angle birthdays. We got the national athlete birthdays. We had a birthday from yesterday that we wanted to recognize. There were no real celebrity birthdays, which I thought were kind of weird. Gabe said, Wednesday was, jeez. How could I forget that? How the hell could I forget that? God, I'm getting old. Wednesday was the breaking news on Jamahl Mosley. We probably will talk a little bit about Jamahl Mosley. Duh. Jeez. Gabe says, if $100,000 is little money, he wants a little money. You know, we're doing the best we can. You're not making $100,000 yet? You didn't get that Venmo I sent you? Come on, man. You didn't even check, did you? You might have a big surprise in there one day. All right, we're moving on. Again, the poll question. How many regular season NFL games do you watch at least a part of? We'll say 5 minutes. Live. It's got to be live. Don't tell me you went back and watched it after the fact. You watched the 30-minute compact version. That doesn't count. How many regular season NFL games do you watch live, at least a part of, out of 272? Do you watch 250 or more? Do you watch 100 to 249? Do you watch just prime time in the Saints, or do you watch only the Saints? So far, nobody said only the Saints. So I am kind of interested about it. You can leave that up for just a minute. We're going to get to the comments in just a little bit. Also, I'm going to tell you about my friends. Zach Ewing coming on in about 10 minutes or so. Had some fun yesterday. Did 2 shows in one day, and I covered a school board meeting. It was a fun day yesterday. No, seriously, went on to Eric Asher's show. If you haven't seen it, you can check it out on YouTube. Just search for Inside New Orleans with Eric Asher. We got fired up. I got fired up on that show. We had a little chat about it. We got into the Will Wade stuff. And let's just say, I didn't, it was no holds barred. It got pretty interesting. Anyway, asked me my thoughts on Alvin Kamara, which we'll be talking about today with Zach. And should he be back? Will he be back? I'm going to talk about that a little bit later on. We had fun on that. And then went on the final bet on Garland Gillen's show after that. Was on 10:35 on Fox 8 last night with Garland, talking about Saints over-under win total, 7.5. Do you think they're going to go over or under? I gave my initial thoughts on it. It's not my official, not official, on whether I think they'll win 7.5 or more. I mean, spoiler alert, I think that number is about right. Whether you think they're going to win 8, whether you think they're going to win 7, I think it's somewhere in that ballpark. Maybe I'll change my mind. We're going to give you the updated odds on the NFC South race. That's coming up in a little bit as well. Take the poll question down, Gabe. We'll come back to it. Appreciate all of you who have voted in the poll so far. We'll bring that back up when Zach comes on in just a little bit. But first, want to remind you, if you like what you hear, if you've been here, a couple of times or whatever, and you say this is a great show, or it's a fun show, whatever, give us a thumbs up, give us a like. That is the best way to support independent journalism. We appreciate you, or whatever you want to call it, independent broadcasting. I am a sports journalist. I have been one for a long time, but we appreciate your support any way you can do it. If it's just a like or a thumbs up, that's fine. We'd appreciate it if you subscribe to the YouTube the Dattitude podcast on YouTube. That helps us with the algorithm. Of course, the more people that subscribe, the more they push it out to people who don't necessarily even know we exist yet. We're working on that. Dattitude is live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 11 a.m. Although a programming note, we are taking Memorial Day off. So after today, we won't be back until Wednesday. Also, you can listen to us after the fact on all these YouTube and Facebook channels, or if you just want to listen to the audio-only version, you know how to do it, whether you're watching on Apple, listen on Apple, whether you listen on Spotify, we're on all those places. And if you want to find me on X, you can, Jim Derry Jr. on X, and email me, jim@jimderry.com. What is different about our show? You talk to us, we talk back. Type your comments in the comment stream. I promise I'm going to show them. I always show at least one comment from everyone, and usually it's a lot more than that. If you type in a comment, we will show it on the screen and discuss it here on the show. That is what's different about us. You talk to us, we talk back to you. But before we do all that, we got some help from some friends, and got to tell you about them. Our biggest friend for a long time, Evangeline Securities. They've been with us for 2 years now. And they're a company that can help you decide if it's the right time to sell your family and run a privately held business. Just as importantly, they can figure out what that business is worth. If that's you, someone you know, someone you love. It's time to reach out to Evangeline's founding partner, Nick Braden. He will start by scheduling a complimentary valuation from his office, either on Poydras Street or in Lafayette. From there, you'll be well informed to begin to make the decision on if you want to proceed. What happens after that? We'll tell you later in the show before Gabe comes on. In the meantime, you can check him out at www.evangelinesecurities.com. You can also check out my friend Joe DiStefano. If you own a small business of fewer than 20 employees, you know how tough it is to get the best rates on health insurance. That's why you want to call Joe DiStefano Insurance. Joe and I have known each other for almost 40 years. I can tell you that he's someone that I trust. Look, health insurance shouldn't be one size fits all, and with Joe DiStefano, you get access to PPO networks and flexible plans designed to fit you, not just a cookie cutter mold. Joe's licensed, he's local, but he can help you no matter where you live and operate. From preventative care to peace of mind, we'll tailor a plan that works for your life today and tomorrow. Call Joe DiStefano at 504-234-2132 to protect what matters most. Let's get on with the show. It is that time we move into our title of the topic of the day. Zach Ewing will be with us in a little bit. It's time to get to the comments. I'm assuming most people want to talk about Saints, maybe a little Coach O in there. As usual, I do not look at a single comment. And it's time until it's time to click on them. The fly came back and said hello. That's the first fly I've seen this morning. He just wanted to make his presence known. Welcome back, sir, wherever you are with your 1,000 eyes. Oh boy, that's a whole different story. If you haven't watched the show, especially recently, you don't know what the hell I'm talking about. Just say I've had a fly problem in here. We thought we've corrected it. We haven't corrected Rock. Rocky's here. Go Tigers. He says he still thinks Cam returns from one last hurrah when all is said and done. I think it's up to Cam. I really do. I think if Cam wants to come back, he can. Wait, was that when you were saying 1.5 million? Was that the minimum for a 15-year vet? Wow, I just realized that that's what you were talking about. Wow. So 1.3 million. Cam Jordan, the minimum salary for a 15-year vet, I did not know it was this low. I thought it was higher than this. $1.3 million. Does that mean, maybe they offered him more than that. If they offered him 1.3 million, that would just be, I'm sure even with a contract that would be incentive laden, that would be kind of a slap in the face. I don't think they would do that. I think they would give him more than that. UBN wants to know why they're hiring coaches they already fired. When's Les Miles coming back? I know you're just being facetious. I like bringing Ed Ogeron back. I do. I think, look, I've said why, and I'll say it again if you haven't heard me say this, but I think bringing Coach O back is a no-lose situation, okay? He's making almost no money, $100,000 a year, and I joke about that being, for you and I, that's a lot of money, okay? For most of us, anyway. Not everybody that watches the show, that's a lot of money, but I know for me, that's a lot of money. For Gabe Henderson, that's a lot of money, okay? But $100,000 in the grand scheme of things when a guy had a $17 million buyout or whatever it was is nothing. It's a couple, here's some lunch money. But there's no doubt that Coach O wanted to come back to this team. He bleeds purple and gold. He wanted to come back, and he's going to fill the role of an ambassador of sorts. Who could be a better ambassador for the LSU football program than Coach O? No one. And I'm serious about this. Look, and I said this in my short. I said this on both shows that I went on yesterday. I am not a fan of all the moves that LSU has made over the course of the last, 5 or 6 months. I mean, I've made it, I don't know how more obvious I can make. I'm not thrilled with the Lane Kiffin hire, and I'm way less than thrilled with the Will Wade hire. So, obviously, this is on a much smaller scale, but to bring back a guy like Coach O, who, no question, is a fantastic recruiter and can help get some of these, iffies, the players that are on the fence to stay around here. What has LSU probably had when LSU's not, it was average or mediocre or not even, maybe some years they're not even mediocre. What have they been not good at? And they have been not good at keeping the players from Louisiana to stay here. There's nobody better at keeping players to stay here, even better than Frank Wilson, I think, keeping players to stay than Coach O. Coach O knows these Louisiana players up and down. You see him at high school event. He's at a high school game. For the past couple years, I've seen him at multiple high school games since he's gone. And I don't know if it's necessarily because he thought he was coming back or whatever it was, but he's there. I saw him on the floor of the state championship games last time I saw him in person. St. Charles and Shaw. He was there on the sideline. And so he's kept in touch with a lot of players, a lot of coaches, and I'm telling you, for LSU, bringing the players in, Coach O is going to be fantastic at that, and I think it's a great hire. I think it's a cool thing to bring him back. Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you want to bring him back? Alvin, good morning. Got to see me on inside New Orleans and Final Bet. Enjoyed my insight. Thank you so much, and glad you're here. That you haven't got enough of me yet. You saw me twice yesterday, and you came back today. Well, we appreciate it, Alvin. Thank you. Nathan, happy Friday. Adam Varner's here. Good morning. David Herman, absolutely. R.I.P. to Kyle Busch. Sad. Michael Lester, we were paying him already. Might as well get something out of him. You talking about Alvin Kamara? We'll see. I don't necessarily agree with that. I'm not 100% against it. We're going to bring Zach on in just a minute, but he's in the green room. Not 100% against Alvin Kamara coming back. But that being said, if your goal is to have this youth movement, to me, you hope that this is the last rebuilding year, right? I mean, I do. I hope it's the last rebuilding year. I hope 2027, you could say, you know what? The over-under on the Saints, win total is at least 9.5, and they're even money to win the NFC South. That's what you hope happens going into 2027. If that happens, then you're shedding the rebuilding tag and you're moving into, you hope you're starting something new. And I'm okay with getting rid of them. I don't care if, you're not gaining anything. I know, I get it. You're not really gaining anything monetarily if you don't bring them back. If you cut them, you're not really getting anything out of it. I mean, a little bit, but hardly anything. That's not the point, in my opinion. If you're trying to get a youth movement, you don't really, it's not that much money to lose in the grand scheme of things, cap-wise. All right, we got a couple of super stickers and super chats to show before we bring Zach in. Big Nick, he's here. They rehired Johnny Jones, Will Wade, now Coach O. Talk about retreads. His point is, Les is busy smoking grass, not eating it. What? What are you talking about, UBN? Is he really? I mean, I never saw that, but whatever. We thank you so much for the $50 super chat. Okay. Retreads. I mean, it's not. I mean, yeah, Coach O is definitely a retread, and we talk about retreads all the time. They're retreads. Almost everybody's a retread. Lane Kiffin's a retread. He's a retread, not at LSU, but he's a retread. He's been all over the place. People, I don't want a retread. But when Jamahl Mosley, he's a retread. He coached at Orlando. Almost everybody's a retread. This is one of the dumbest words in sports hires. Retread. Everybody's a retread. I get where you're coming from, though. But again, Coach O is going to have a very small role, I think. Mitch Bergeron, thank you so much for the $20 super sticker. Very much appreciated. All of you who have donated to us here at the Dattitude Podcast, whether you're a member, all the members, we appreciate them very much. In fact, we haven't showed them a while. Gabe, can you run the crawl for just a minute as we bring Zach in here for all the members? And I promise I'm going to get to, I know we got a lot more comments in here. I promise I will get to them all. By the way, Apathy says new rule this year allows Coach O to go on the road to recruit. Okay. All right. It's Friday. You know what that means? It means Zach Ewing is here. How are you, sir? Have you waterlogged yet?
No, it hasn't been too bad here.
Nasty here.
Hopefully it stays that way, but it rained some yesterday, but it's been okay today.
Well, it's going to be an interesting weekend as we finally get a little bit of a break. I don't know what your plans are, but I haven't taken a break in probably 6 weeks. When I say break, I don't mean like, oh, you haven't taken a week off. No, I'm talking about I haven't had I don't know if I've had consecutive days off in over 6 weeks. So I'm going to take a little bit of a break this weekend. I don't know what you're up to.
I am going to see the new Star Wars movie tonight, and probably will most of the rest of the weekend. So yeah, it'll be a good weekend.
Is the movies usually in your thing? I mean,
no, I don't go to see too many, but my boys are big Star Wars fans, and my wife's a Star Wars fan, and so whenever there's a new one, that's something we're going to go see in the theater. It came out last night, so we're going tonight.
Okay, I went to the movies for the first time in well over a year last weekend when we went and saw Michael. So
we'll go see 2 or 3 a year, not anything crazy, but we'll probably go see another one later in the summer, and that'll be it.
All right. Well, we enjoy being able to do whatever we can. Whenever I have time to do anything with the family, even if it's just for a few hours. Shout out to my son Blair, who turned 28 years old yesterday. Little did he know he shares a birthday with one of his favorite players, and I'll have to tell him later on. I'm not going to saving spoiler alert for that date. I don't want to give it yet, but a very famous NFL player was born on May the 21st. We'll tell you about that later on in that date. All right. I'm just going to go along with some of the comments first. So pardon me if I'm kind of all over the place here. And I'm going to start with this one. And it's from Hart Pisani, who has his own podcast as well. You ought to check it out. The Heartland with Hart Pisani. And it's about LSU. So I'm starting off there. He says, well, LSU need to redesign their offices. Kiffin's head, Wade's head, Mulkey's head coach, and Coach O's head. Too far to fit big in the same building. What did you think about the hiring of Coach O? Rehiring.
Pretty much a no-lose thing for LSU, right? I mean, they're paying him $100,000 a year, which is peanuts. It's a 1-year deal. And he can go on the road to recruit, which is his strength. I actually think he's underrated as a defensive line coach too.
I agree.
He's never been a great head coach, but I think he can help you on the D-line. I'm actually, the only thing that surprised me a little bit was the timing of it. Why didn't we see this back in January? I don't know if Coach O thought maybe he could get a bigger role at another school. And once that didn't happen, he came back and said, okay, what do you have for me? Or if Lane thought, I don't want that baggage or whatever. I don't know what the deal is, but especially once they lost Frank Wilson to Ole Miss, there's not too many people who can recruit Louisiana as well as Frank Wilson, but Ed Ogeron might be one of them.
I don't deny that at all. And I'll ask, do you think his return will be a distraction? I mean, again, he's in a very limited role. he'll be an assistant on defense, which means I don't even know if he'll be on the sideline for games. He'll probably just be help game planning during the week is my guess.
Man,
probably be in the booth. I mean, do you think he's be a distraction?
Sideline? Come on, you got to put that man on the sideline. We got to.
You think they're going to put him on the sideline?
Coach O emotion. Go Tigers. Maybe Lane will let him do the halftime interview on ESPN so he can bring back his tagline.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see what. I think he's probably not going to be on the sideline, but we'll see. All right. Gabe, can you show the poll question again? I kind of want to get into it because it leads into the next comment. The poll question of the day was, how many regular season NFL games do you watch at least, we'll say at least 5 minutes of live? This is how many regular season NFL games do you watch at least 5 minutes of live out of 272? Maybe a couple minutes less, whatever. At least a part of the way you know what's going on. So yes, red zone counts if you're watching. And I know you and I have been up there covering Saints at different times, and either one or both of us has it on our screen or are the Saints. So my answer is definitely 250 plus. But the poll question, how many do you watch? Type in the number 1 if it's 250 or more. Type in the number 2 if it's between 100 and 249. Type in the number 3 if you just watch primetime in the Saints, and type in number 4 if you only watch the Saints. What would you answer here, Zach? Mine would be 250 plus.
I think I'm 2. I don't think I mean, there's 272, right? That's the
272, correct.
You're telling me there's only 20 games you don't watch all year long?
Last year, there were only, I think there were only 3 games that I didn't watch at least a significant amount of live.
Here's my thing is on Sundays, I'm obviously laser.
You've been a lot more busy than now. That'll be harder for me this year.
And so I'm like, yes, I have red zone on, and during a timeout, I might flip over and watch.
It's harder for you.
60 seconds. Does that add up to 5 minutes per game? I don't think so. And like when I'm at home for a road game, maybe a little bit more because I have it on the TV behind me and I can kind of turn around. But then even after the games, I'm busy editing and doing our post-game show and things.
Right.
And so
it's harder for you for sure.
I'm driving back to Baton Rouge. Even if I'm at home, honestly, I don't watch a ton of the Sunday night games because I'm just tired at that point. And like the family doesn't want football. My wife and daughter are like, can we watch something else, please? And we're like, okay. The Thursday night games, like I've got kids practices and stuff. I don't know. I might catch 5 minutes of these games, but there's got to be more than 20 where I just don't see much of. Christmas, I'm not sitting there and watching all 3 games. Thanksgiving, I'm not watching. It adds up. I'll bet you I'm definitely over 150. I might be over 200. I doubt I'm over 250. That's okay. A lot.
That is a lot. It is a lot. But look, it is harder for you for sure because you're doing a lot more during. Now this year, it may be harder for me because I'm going to be doing a lot more during games than I've been doing in the past. So we'll see if it adds up to 250 plus this year or not. But it's hard for some of us to watch a lot of games. But some of us.
Yeah, it helps. If my sons were not so into it, like then there might be a random Monday night where I'm just like, you know what? Yeah, let's watch a movie. I don't need to see the Chargers play the Patriots. We can watch a movie. But my boys are like, oh, turn on Monday Night Football, or during the Saints bye week, it'll be turn on Red Zone. And normally I might check out for that day just to give myself a break. But yeah, I'm probably over 200.
And Gabe says there are at least 20 games he has no desire to watch in the season. See, not me. I mean, if the Sunday night game, they would never do this, but if the Sunday night game were Raiders and Titans, I would watch it.
250, so many. That's out of 272. That's so many.
It really is a lot. All right. Well, there's a comment I wanted to show in there, and passed over it on accident. No, I guess I'll have to come back to it. Brian Cavett, glad you're here. He's deep in home repairs, remodeling, so mostly listening. Well, we're glad you're here, no matter what form or fashion you're listening. Ryan Ashay says he does old school one game at a time, switching back and forth between CBS and Fox if there are 2 games on. Okay, but he watches games in its entirety for the most part. I know it's hard for some Saints fans, and I used to be like this. Like if before I was covering the Saints or in between times when I was covering whatever, that was just home. I would have the Saints on the big screen. I would have the red zone like on an iPad or something, and I would watch it in between. Like I would focus on the Saints. Now it's like I don't know. I find myself, it's funny because my interest is all over the place. So I do watch the Saints in the 4 box, but I also have the Red Zone channel in there at the same time. So anyway.
Your attention span is going the way of the youths.
The Utes, the 2 Utes. Yeah. All right. Getting to the title of the day, the youth movement becoming more obvious. It leads into Adam Varner's comment. His gut tells him Kamara is gone and that Cam moves on. But do you agree with me? Obviously, we talked about Taysom Hill earlier. We talked about it a couple of weeks ago when we were talking about moving pods in his driveway. And then you guys at NOLA reported that his house was up for sale. A lot of people reported it. I talked about it on SI as well. But so we know Taysom's gone. We know Demario Davis is now with the Jets. We still trying to figure out what's happening with Cam Jordan and Alvin Kamara, and whether either one or both of those guys stays. I think we can both agree that the youth movement for this team, it's clear and obvious that that's what Kellen Moore wanted to do. The first thing to do when he came in, and he's doing it pretty quickly.
Yeah, I don't know if it was all Kellen or if Mickey and the rest of the front office were. I mean, you almost had to do this anyway, right? You at some point, if we were talking 2 years ago, the Saints are one of the oldest teams in the NFL. At almost every position group, you had somebody 30 plus anchoring that group, and you just can't survive long like that in the NFL. So, yeah, you're just naturally going to have to get younger. Professional sports is a young man's thing. You need guys who are less than 30 for the most part. Obviously, there are some exceptions. Cam Jordan, Demario Davis. Proved to Tyrann Mathieu to a certain extent, proved that they can be high level players well into their 30s. Quarterbacks can do that, but it's typically something where if you're going to be competitive, you got to have a lot in that 25 to 30 range. And so that's where the Saints are headed. And now I haven't seen any age rankings. Are they one of the younger teams now in the NFL? I don't know if they're quite there yet.
I don't know the answer to that. Gabe, can you help find that out? I don't know if you can do that quickly or not, but Gabe will look that up. It's hard
still because we don't have final 53s. I mean, we're still dealing with huge numbers of guys who just won't make the team. But I would say of their core starters of the 2 deep, yeah, look at every position now where you've just gotten younger. Obviously, insert your Tyler Shuck age joke here, but he's a lot younger than Drew Brees or Derek Carr was. He's younger than Jameis Winston was when he was. He's younger than any quarterback you've had for 20 years. Except for Spencer Rattler. And running back Etienne is younger than Alvin Kamara. Wide receiver, obviously, you've had some turnover there, but you're mostly younger. Offensive line, you've got 2 first-round picks in the last 3 years. You're younger. I mean, just go through every position. They're obviously younger.
No doubt about it. Christopher Crump asks, who do the Saints play in the preseason? Have a great holiday and go Saints. The answer is they play at home against the Jacksonville Jaguars on Saturday, August 15th. 3 p.m. in the Caesars Superdome. I can't wait. They will play at the Los Angeles Rams on Saturday, August 22nd at 3 p.m. I know that they're going to spend some time out in California, I believe, before that, right, Zach? Before that Rams game?
Nothing's been announced, but I think the idea is they're going to get some joint practices in against one of the LA teams. It won't be as long as it has been the last couple of years, from what I understand, but 2 or 3 days of joint practices than the preseason game. So they'll spend, maybe 5 days out there.
Yeah. And then week 3, date and time to be determined. If they were to play it on a Saturday, it would be a birthday edition of the New Orleans Saints. My birthday is on August 29th. Would be that weekend. They play at the Dallas Cowboys at Jerry World. So there's your answer, Christopher Crump. According to Ian Harditz of Matthew Berry's Fantasy Life, the New Orleans Saints are the 9th youngest team in the NFL. And thanks, Gabe. And that is a lot different than they were even 2 years ago.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, now they go sign Cam Jordan. That probably, I'm guessing these things are really close. Their average age is 29.1 and next is 29.2 and 29.3. And so if you sign a 38-year-old Cam Jordan, you're going to shoot up 6 spots or something. We'll see where it is when the season starts, but they have definitely made a move to get younger. And not just, we're talking about key positions, quarterback, your tackles, your edge rushers. These guys, your wide receivers, you've gotten so much younger at those key spots.
Yeah. And Gabe also says that the offense ranks 5th youngest defense ranks 21st youngest. So they're going to work to get younger on defense as well. Mark Satanovich is making his prediction. He says Kamara stays, Cam stays, Taysom goes to Denver. I disagree with all of that. I think Taysom's done. I don't think Kamara's coming back. I know you'd probably disagree with me on that. Cam, I think, is 50-50. If he can get over his feelings being hurt, I think he'll come back. If not, then we'll see what happens.
Yeah. We'll see. I mean, things are still going to change. We still get 3.5, almost 4 months before opening day. I mean, it's still a long ways away.
Right. So, I mean, that's not, we'll I think we're going to find out over the course of I think we'll know by mandatory minicamp, right? I think if Alvin Kamara isn't there, I think somebody's going to have to say something. You think someone would say something by June 11th. They don't have to, but you would think someone would say something.
Yeah, he will not be at the OTAs because he will not. That won't be a sign that anything is amiss. But you're right. If he's not at minicamp, that's a sign that either he's unhappy or the team has told him not to come or whatever. But I think he's going to be at minicamp. I really do.
He might be.
Now,
it wouldn't surprise me if he's at minicamp.
That doesn't mean that things have been decided, right? I mean, they could still be negotiating or still be wanting him to take a pay cut or something. But he could also do the hold in, which he did a couple years ago before he got the extension, where he's there but not participating because he's in a dispute and he's upset that they've asked him to take a pay cut. I don't know what path he'll take, but I'm going to guess unless they out and out cut him, which June 1st is coming up here, which they could designate him as a post June 1st cut anytime, but they could also just do it once June 1st hits. But I think barring
they
that,
only save like $360,000, I think, cap wise to do that now. The way the contract is restructured, they don't save very much. It may be a little bit more than that, but they don't save very much to do it that way.
Yeah,
that's why. I don't think they care about the money per se. If they want to cut him, they're going to cut him. And I know people say there's no reason to cut him. Well, yes, there is, because he's taken up a spot that you may want to make Kendra Miller the RB2 or Devin Neal RB2. And if you make Alvin Kamara RB2 and you're still in rebuilding mode, then you're taking away carries from Kendra Miller or Devin Neal or both.
Right. It's that, and then it's at some point it just becomes a distraction, right? If there's
Absolutely.
This cloud hanging over the team and what's going to be done with Alvin, and we know he's unhappy, and we know the team doesn't want to pay him, and I guess at some point it becomes a distraction. But having said that, I think Tyrann Mathieu was correct in a certain way. I don't think the Saints want to cut him. I think they would like him to retire or take a pay cut. But if he just doesn't do it, they might just let him hang around. I don't know. I mean,
they might.
We'll see how far he wants to push this.
I think it's 50-50-ish. If I had to bet one way or the other, and you're telling me it's if I had to put odds on it, I would probably put it at -110, and I'd probably take he's not coming back. Does it surprise me if he comes back? No, it certainly doesn't surprise me if he doesn't come back either. I think completely up in the air. Who dat, Daddy? Welcome. We're glad you're here. Also saying he loves Coach O. There is no better ambassador to LSU sports. We're going to get it back into that in just a minute, but I definitely wanted to show that. Jay Bludowski, how do you access the members only chat? Gabe, can you type that in YouTube? Oh, you already did? Okay. He already did. All right. Well, there you go. So Jay, just check it out. Gabe's telling you how you got to get your email address to us, and we will get you in the members only chat. We appreciate you. Oh, Mitch, we're so glad you're here. And again, thank you for the super chat. We appreciate it. What else we got here? Oh, that's people telling you hello, Rocky. UBN's telling you hello. Reginald says Cam could coach after his career is over or do a podcast. I think Cam's more likely to do some kind of media. I mean, yeah, he could coach, but I could certainly see him as either a color analyst or like on the NFL Network Sunday show, or I just see his face being on TV.
He was already doing USFL games. I mean, he's definitely going to be in the broad, and he does studio shows sometimes. He did the red carpet before NFL honors for NFL Network this year. Like there's 100% when he's done playing, that's his avenue.
Yeah. Again, we're going to get into more into Coach O in a little bit, but Hart and Saint says, hard to call Coach O a retread. He's back in a capacity that utilizes what he's best at, not the head coach again. Couldn't agree more. Again, we're going to get into that. I 100% agree with that. Lance wants to know where you at, Zach. He says, where are you at on Alvin Kamara? What would you do? Would you keep him? Would you cut him? Would you trade him? Is he better? Or, I mean, that's not a fair comparison. Is he better? Of course, he's better than Estime or Neal, but that's not the point. You're not counting Kendra Miller anymore. Well, I promise you the Saints are counting Kendra Miller. Is he better than Kendra Miller? I don't know. Maybe he's certainly better than Estime or Neal, but it's not the point of whether
statistically last year he wasn't even close. Now, maybe he was playing hurt, maybe he was unmotivated, maybe it was just a bad couple of games. I don't know, but statistically last year he was not better than those guys. And I guess I'm leaning toward if it were me, you just if you're going to cut bait, if you just want him to be around because he's a name and you don't want to piss your fan base off, you can't operate that way. Just cut the guy. If that's what it comes to, there will be hard feelings for a year or two, and then he will come back and get his enter the Saints
Hall of Fame, exactly,
all that, and like everyone will be happy again. And that's just how the business works. If you don't believe that he's capable of even getting RB2 carries, then what are we doing here?
Why do you want Alvin Kamara to be an RB2? I know you guys, I mean, Jeff Duncan sort of wrote about him, not sort of. Jeff Duncan wrote about him in his column that he's going to have to take a pay cut. I put together where he ranks among running back salaries, and he's sixth. He's the only one in the top 19 who is going to be an RB2 in running back contracts. And so, again, I get it. You're not saving that much if you get rid of him, but to the point of, is he more of a distraction? Is he going to come in and actually help this team win a division title? Or, again, are you taking away from carries that you want other running backs to have? I get some people think that's blasphemy, but you got to think about the future. And in my opinion, the more I talk about this, the more I'm talking myself into, I think it's better if he's not here.
The one exception to what you're saying, and because I mostly agree with you, if you do believe that giving him fewer touches is going to keep him fresher, then maybe he could get back to some of the explosive plays that were so sorely lacking last year and even the second half of the year before, then it's worth it. You're paying your running back room way too much. Okay. They're paying the running backs way more than any other team in the NFL, and they're not getting the production to match it. I've said before, Travis Etienne is fine. I'm not a huge fan of the sign. Like it's okay because I know you needed somebody, and so you just go pay the money. But like, I don't think he's a star, and Alvin Kamara is not a star anymore. And so you're just looking at like you're hoping for average production, and you're paying them more than any other running back room in the NFL, which is a problem, but it's also only a problem for 1 year. And so if you think that Alvin Kamara could find some kind of a spark getting only 8 touches a game, and that he could give you a little bit more in those 8 touches and only playing 20 plays a game versus having to play 50, then it's worth keeping him around if you think he'll be happy in that scenario. But if that's not true, and I don't know that, I haven't seen him practice, I don't know what his mentality is or physically what I think he could do given fewer carries. But if I knew that stuff, maybe I can make a better decision. But I'm at the point where I'm with you. Like, if barring that, why keep him around? If you don't believe that he's going to be effective in even 8 carries a game, there's no reason for, he's not a mascot. You just keep him around just to keep him around.
And I mean, does he want to play second fiddle? Because he's clearly playing second fiddle. I'm going to push back a little bit on the Travis Etienne. I think he's a star, probably not a star, but I mean, you look at these numbers that he's put together. I mean, Alvin Kamara has never rushed for 1,000 yards in his career. Travis Etienne has done it 3 times in his 4-year career. Yes. I mean, and his total offense last year, he had 1,400 yards of total offense last year. He had a bad 2024, but in 2023, he had almost 1,500 yards of total offense. And 2022, he had 1,450 yards of total offense. I mean, that's pretty good. I mean, it's not necessarily star capacity, but it's pretty darn good.
I mean, to me, those are longevity numbers. Those are you look up and the guy who's hit 6th in your lineup for 10 years is all of a sudden your career hits leader, and you're like, your franchise career hits leader, and you're like, oh wow, what a great player. And you go, well, he's a reliable player.
Those are numbers that are pretty similar to Alvin Kamara type numbers. I mean, and you talk about Alvin Kamara, who people have as I'd say a majority of Saints fans would say that he's the best running back in the history of this team. And those are pretty close to Alvin Kamara type numbers.
Yes. Over the last couple of years, Alvin Kamara hasn't been anything close to it.
He was pretty good 2 years ago. Let's say
he had a good start 2 years ago. He had a very good start 2 years ago. Travis Etienne, and I know you're going to roll your eyes at PFF grades, and I'm not the biggest.
I get it.
25th in the league.
Behind
guys like Chase Brown, David Montgomery, J.K. Dobbins, Ramondre Stevenson, Blake Corum, James Cook, Jalen Warren. I mean, these guys are all ahead of him. He's just a guy, man.
But if you look, okay, so let's get rid of the last 3 years, okay? Let's just forget about the last 3 years of Alvin Kamara. 2022, Kamara had 9 and 5. He had 1,400 yards of total offense. The year before that, he had 1,400 yards of total offense. The year before was his best year, and he had a little over 1,600, almost 1,700 yards of total offense. So that's great. But before that, 1,300. So, and before that, 1,500. So all these numbers, they're all pretty close to. He caught more passes and he had more receiving yards. Alvin Kamara did, but in the grand scheme of things, total offense, if you take the average of Alvin Kamara over the course of his 9-year career and you put it next to Travis Etienne average over the course of his 4-year career, Alvin Kamara is a little bit more, but it's not a ton more. And again, you're talking about a guy who some people would put on the Mount Rushmore of Saints.
I get it. I think Travis Etienne is kind of a volume guy. I guess that's what I'm trying to say, is that he racks up a lot of volume stats. His explosiveness numbers are down. His yards per carry are okay. I mean, again, I don't think he's a bad player. I think he's
I hear you. I'm just
running back, and maybe
I'm not even really arguing with y'all that much because I hear what you're saying. I don't necessarily disagree with you. I'm just saying that his numbers, if you as a whole, they're not bad. I mean, they're pretty close to Kamara.
Again, I'm not saying he's not a starting caliber running back. He is. You filled that hole, and that's why I'm not totally criticizing the signing and saying why would you get, because you needed somebody. And they got somebody to fill the role. But unless you have extreme faith in Kellen Moore to just unlock something in this guy,
right?
I think the offensive line is just going to be tremendous. Then I wouldn't expect Travis Etienne to be a star. He's going to be a solid starter, and that's fine. That's better than what Alvin Kamara was last year, certainly. And it's probably better than anything else you have. But I'm just saying, from a holistic viewpoint, the running back room, you are paying an awful lot of money for what you hope is basically average production or maybe slightly above average.
Yeah, that I certainly agree with. Monreal Davis, glad you're here this morning. Good morning, and welcome back. We haven't seen you in a little bit. What else we got here? Else Picks is here. Hello, Cecil Evans. Coach O will be a fine interim coach when Kiffin leaves for the Tennessee Titans in 2030. I guess anything is possible. Let's see what else we got here. We're not talking about World Cup yet. Well, maybe we'll mention World Cup before you go off. Lance says, folks think he's open to a pay cut. This is solely, does he fit the way they want to do? I mean, that's another thing. You're going to have to get Kamara to take. Is he going to take a pay cut and say, you've been the star of this team for 9 years, but we want you to take a pay cut and be RB2? I find that hard to believe that he's going to do that.
I think with a normal player, it would be. Alvin's kind of a different cat. He's got a lot of stuff going on outside of football.
He's got a 1-2.
He may be fine with that. He may be like, look, take the pressure off of me. I've got a couple years left in the league, and then I'm going to go, own my 504 golf thing and fiddle around with my NASCAR team and kind of do what I want to do in retirement. But in the meantime, I'm happy just getting 8 to 10 touches a game. And maybe, again, if the Saints believe he could be a better player at 8 to 10 touches a game, then you keep him around, because we've all seen it. He does have explosiveness in there. He can make big plays, and that could be a real weapon at RB2 for somebody you've got to pay one way or the other. So, okay, keep him around. But I just think I don't know, the situation's kind of coming to a head. They've got to figure it out one way or the other.
Gabe talks about not being able to take a pay cut. I think he can. I think you can restructure his contract. Just because he restructured already doesn't mean he can't restructure again.
He can. He can. I just, one thing
I just don't think he will. I don't think he will, but he can.
You mentioned Jeff's column. Like, why should he have to? That was Jeff's point. Why should he have to take a pay cut?
I wouldn't if I were him.
2 years ago, the Saints gave it to him. Now they want to back out of it. Well, what the hell's the point of a contract? You gave him that money. Alvin Kamara felt like he earned that money with what he did early in his career. If I'm Alvin, I'm saying, no, you can go cut me if you like that, but you're paying.
Close your ears, Lance. If I were Derek Carr, I wouldn't have given any money back to the Saints. To hell with you. You don't really want me here. The fans don't want me here. I'm taking my money and I'm going home. I'm not saying that he deserved that money, whatever. But the point is, the Saints gave it to him, and I'm leaving with it. I'm not giving you any help. Sorry. I'm staying here.
What is the average length of an NFL career? Is like 3.5 years or something like that. Maybe
exactly.
less than that.
Take what you can get when you get it.
Take your money. That's what I say. Like, and contracts in other sports are guaranteed a lot more than the NFL contracts are guaranteed. If I'm getting guaranteed money, what does the word guarantee mean, man? Like, don't come back to me and say, "Oh, sorry, we didn't mean guaranteed. We meant guaranteed as long as you were playing well." No,
exactly.
No.
And if I'm Alvin Kamara, I'm not taking a pay cut. I'm not taking. You can do whatever you want with me, but I'm not taking a pay cut. Sorry, it ain't happening.
The Saints kind of want to have their cake and eat it too, but they put themselves in this situation.
Yeah, Coach Mike Silva's here. He said he was at his best when he shared playing time with another quality back. He did, and that. So I hear you, and that could be part of this thing. Maybe he could have one more. He's not gonna have the quote unquote Alvin Kamara type year, but maybe he could have one more decent year. Again, you gotta want to come back, and you gotta want to be RB2. That's the big difference, Coach. The difference is that when he was sharing PT, he was still the RB1. And you could say he's RB1A and 1B when Ingram was there, whatever. But Alvin Kamara was still the top dog. Now there's no question. Yeah, there's no question he's the RB2.
He played his way into being RB1 over Ingram. It might have started out as RB2 his rookie year, but it was pretty quickly apparent that this guy was special. And but that is the argument. I mean, what the argument is, he can be RB2 and increase his per touch production, bring back some of that explosiveness, stay fresher, stay healthier, stay more engaged in the pass blocking, that sort of stuff. Like, the argument is if you think that's true for 8 to 10 touches a game, then by all means, you're paying him anyway. He does have talent. He does have experience. He's probably better than anything else you have. But if you don't believe that juice, if the juice is just gone, you might as well cut him. And if you're, to me, the way the Saints are acting makes me think that's what they believe, that he's just.
They're trying to. I mean, I think they're trying to get him to do it himself. To say he doesn't want to play. I don't think that's going to happen, but I really think that's what they're trying to. Same thing with Cam. I think they're trying to get him to say, I don't want to play for the Saints. Okay. And I think that's what's going to happen. Anyway, and by the way, Lance, the goal on HN is also below league average. Well, if that's the case, then so is Alvin Kamara, because they have almost identical numbers per season. Alvin Kamara scored 61 touchdowns in his career, his 9-year career. Travis Etienne in his 4-year career scored 25. So that's pretty close to the same. I mean, 25 touchdowns over a 4-year career. I mean, I'm no math genius, but that tells me that's over the number. That's over 6 touchdowns a year. Is it great? No, it's not great, but it's pretty close to what Alvin Kamara is. And that's my point, is his numbers are very similar to Kamara. So if you're hating on HN, I mean, you're hating on AK. They're very similar in stats. Ryan O'Shea says he's in the middle of our arguments. HN is maybe a little bit better than just a guy. He's no prime Kamara. I mean, he's a different kind of running back. I mean, and I saw also people throwing out numbers about HN only has 9.6% 20 plus. I don't care about all that. I mean, you don't need to have a guy that's going to, I mean, Alvin Kamara hasn't broken off a run in 5 years. I mean,
you should care about that, though. Alvin
Kamara hasn't broken off a run in forever. I mean,
if you're just comparing him to Kamara, sure. I mean, but you need the point. My point with Etienne is, if he was really a dude, if he was like a Pro Bowl type running back, he would. It's volume's fine. It is valuable because it means he's healthy, and it means that he's not. He can get 20 touches, 25 touches in a game and stay effective. That is. I'm not trying to put down Travis Etienne and say he's.
I don't understand what you're saying,
but if you want to be a Pro Bowler, if you want to say a running back is a strength, you need to have that explosiveness, and he just hasn't shown that he has it enough.
Again, I'm comparing the two. Okay, so Alvin Kamara's longest run from scrimmage or catch from scrimmage, either one, over the past 5 years, and it was 5 years ago, it was 30 yards. In the last 4 years, it's 27 yards. Okay, Travis Etienne, you can't say he can't break away. Well, guess what? He's got a 71-yard run. He's got a 62-yard run. He's got another 62-yard run. He's got a, let's see, what else he's got? He's got a 45-yard reception. He's got a 56-yard reception. So don't tell me he doesn't have the capability. And I can't believe I'm taking up for Travis Etienne because I'm really not that huge of a Travis Etienne fan. But these numbers show that he can.
And no, he can. He just does it at less of a rate than elite running backs. That's all. He can. And maybe Kellen Moore can unlock more of that. Now, he played for Liam Cohen last year, who's also a bright young offensive mind, and he did have a good season. So maybe there's more in there. Maybe the Saints look at him on film and say, we know what we can do with that. I don't know, but he just hasn't shown it to this point in his career.
I don't disagree with that. I'm just saying that we can't just throw out like these, and I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about everyone in the general fan. And I get there's a lot of this just stems from we don't want to move on with the past, and it's basically taken up for Alvin Kamara. And understanding it's going to hurt people's feelings. I mean, I'm not saying anything people don't know. I mean, but sometimes you have to move on from the past. And I said this multiple times over the course of the past few weeks. And when we talk about this youth, it all goes to the youth movement and what the Saints team is trying to do. And I happen to agree with what they're trying to do. We've said for a couple of years now, Zach, one thing is, holding on to Dennis Allen an extra year, set this team back to me 2 years. Okay. And it also, when holding on to Dennis Allen kept the personnel kind of locked into place. Maybe they should have moved on before they have. And so now you're just doing it when they're all just a year older. And it's, again, I know when you lose at Taysom Hill, some people are upset about Taysom Hill leaving. I mean, how he's going to go to Denver. I'll give you a little tip, folks. Taysom Hill's not going anywhere. He's going home to play with his kids. Taysom Hill's done. And in my opinion, Alvin Kamara's close to done. Cam Jordan had a great resurgent year last year, but is he going to give you that again at age 37? I don't know. But this team has to move on. They have to get younger, and that's what they're doing.
Yeah, 100%. The NFL waits for no one and no team.
Does not.
And the Saints acted, frankly, for 3 or 4 years like it was going to wait for them. And that may actually more than that, probably 5 or 6, maybe 6 or 7 years. And for a while, that made sense. When you had an all-time great at quarterback who was just hanging on but was still effective, like, yeah, you pull out all the stops salary cap-wise. You
know about Jameis Winston?
You do Hall of Famer, James. Dude, Jameis' speech in Canton would be – you should put him in just for that, just so we can put him.
Sorry, I couldn't help that.
But yeah, like it made a certain amount of sense. You're chasing one more ring. But then Drew Brees left. Sean Payton left. They did it for too long. They thought Derek Carr was more than he was. There were some injuries. Like, they got unlucky with that too. There were some injuries that Derek Carr, frankly, hadn't experienced earlier in his career. And that pushed them back, and some offensive line injuries pushed them back. But the biggest problem was when that happened, they had no flexibility because they had gone all in on that roster. And so they had to bottom out. We've talked about this. They had to bottom out, and they had to build it back up. And they might have done it faster than I thought they could. We'll see. We'll see how this season goes. They may need another year or two of building to really get there. But if Tyler Shuck is the real deal and Kellen Moore is the real deal, then they've built this thing back up in just basically 2 years.
I agree. A couple more. Let's show a few comments before I move on, because I do want to. I know you only got a few more minutes with us, and I do want to talk about Coach O for a minute. But Kenny Ford, most honest show in the Saints. Thank you so much. We appreciate that. Adam Varner says Kamara hasn't seemed motivated for several years. He thinks he just doesn't care anymore. Cut him. Thanks for the memories. Hart Pisani says Zach's haircut is better than Alvin Kamara's pay cut.
Thanks, bro.
Loving on your haircut there today. All right.
I didn't do anything with it. I just took it, just showered. Right.
Nobody said anything about my haircut. Rocky says Etienne will be great under Kellen Moore. Hope Kamara comes back for one last year as a spell back, but won't lose sleep if he doesn't.
Nick is in rare form in these comments. I'm just reading through them right now.
Who is?
Uncle Big Nick. You got to bring him on and just let him. the sarcasm meter is turned all the way up to 11.
Well, it has been he has been like he's really. He says you need a hat. Why is it? Maybe he just wants to see you wear your M's hat. I
need
don't
a
know.
new Mariners hat. My Mariners hat's all it's gotten to the point where it's not just dirty. Like I could wash it, but you know, hats tend to shrink on you after a while too. Especially if you wear them and you sweat.
I got quite most of my hats now. I think my head got bigger. I know that's hard to believe, but I only have I have about 30 hats and only like 3 of them
what
hat fit right now. Huh?
What hat size are you?
I used to be 7 3/8, then I went to 7 1/2, and I'm actually right now about a 7 5/8.
Yeah, I think I'm 7 1/2. I got a big head too.
It's so and UBN's like over 8. I know that. He's got a bulldog head. Earl's picks. Alvin Kamara is just not as effective anymore, and that's okay. He's 30, actually 31 on July 25th. Not even sure AK wants to play anymore, honestly. I mean, and that's kind of where I am. I don't know that he necessarily even wants to play.
That's the thing they've got to figure out here. I mean, he could have retired by now, right? So if he really didn't want to play, he could have just, okay, I'm done. But the Saints have to. The thing that worries me about this situation more than anything is that there doesn't appear to have been any communication here. I don't think the Saints know exactly what. Maybe they're just not telling us, but it kind of feels like they're just going to wait for him to show up to minicamp and address it then. Maybe that's fine, but like if it's not fine, then all of a sudden you're going to take a situation probably into training camp that could be a distraction.
UBN says my shirts shrink, not my hats. Oh, they do shrink. I'm not getting bigger. It's my shirts that are getting smaller. That's the biggest problem that I have. All right, before we let you go, I want to touch on it, Coach O. We kind of touched on it a little bit, but for those who missed us talking about this when we got into it, look, again, if I know some of you were here, some of you weren't, but I think you and I both agree it's the no-lose situation. The only question I want to ask is, if Coach O is on the sideline, is there a big enough spotlight for Lane Kiffin and Ed Ogeron?
Dude, it's weird, man. I don't know if Lane Kiffin likes the spotlight. I know he acts like that. Lane Kiffin's got like a split personality. He's on
social media a lot.
He's got his social media personality where he'll say anything and do anything. And, and then the Vanity Fair where he's calling Ole Miss out for Oxford for being racist and stuff. God, and you're like, well, what are you even doing that for? But then he's got this other side where he's kind of in person, press conferences, he's kind of reserved, doesn't give a ton of one-on-one interviews, kind of acts like he'd rather just coach and not be seen at some of these places. I mean, like, I don't know what to make of Kiffin. And I do wonder if he just, come down on the sideline and let the cameras find you and I'll just freaking coach. I don't know. Like, see, maybe he does. Sometimes he shows like he does, but other times he's just like, quiet football guy. So Lane's a hard guy to figure out. And I don't know. I don't know what he'll do. But maybe it'll be telling whether he puts Ed on the sideline or not. There is a limit to how many coaches you can have down there, but there's also coaches who prefer to be up in the booth.
Ray Sun says they don't want to pull the Band-Aid off. Talking about the Saints quickly, but it's going to get pulled off eventually. There's no question.
They've waited as long as possible. Man.
That is definitely, I agree with that. Rocky says if Coach O's on the sideline, the band plays neck. Game 1 out of the gate.
They're way more likely to bring back neck under this administration and this athletic director and this governor, frankly. Like, I wouldn't be surprised at all if they bring back neck.
I mean, I never understood. Well, I mean, I get it's kind of still fun.
They just say the chant during other songs anyway, though. That's the
exactly.
thing. You might as well just embrace it.
Oh, wait, that's supposed to. Anyway, you know what? All right. Let's before we let you go. This is literally the last question. I made a slide for this, but your thoughts on Jamahl Mosley, real quick. I just wanted to. We never talked about this. Hired this week as Pelicans head coach. Is he going to change the future of this basketball franchise?
First of all, I will not pretend to be an expert on Jamahl Mosley.
Yeah, neither am I.
You should get Rod Walker on and talk to him about it. But from what I can gather, this is a good hire if you are looking to get out of the doldrums where the Pelicans are and get back competitive. I don't know if he's the long-term let's build a serious contender and a winner here, he might be the step to that, which is fine. If that's what it ends up being, and he's here for 4 to 5 years and gets you back toward the 500 mark and competing for a playoff spot, and then you need to go make another move to make the next step, that's fine. That's what the Pelicans need.
I'm completely cool with if he just gets them back to the playoffs. I mean, I know that would get old after a while, but if they're just in the playoffs a bunch of years in a row, well, great.
Now, I will say, it's a lot easier to do. That's what he did in Orlando. It's a lot easier to do that in the East than it is in the West right now. A lot easier, because the West is, I mean, you look at like the Lakers have, they've got like, I know LeBron may not play very much longer, but they've got a true superstar in Luka and a pretty good supporting cast, and they can't even break through. Like, they're playing fourth fiddle in their own conference, because you've got Oklahoma City, you've got San Antonio, you've got Denver. Houston is constantly trying to rebuild. Dallas is there with Cooper Flagg. You know, they're going to be on the come up. Like, Minnesota's got a solid team. There are so many good. If you listed the top 10 teams in the NBA, what would 8 of them be in the West? So you have to be literally a top 10 team to make the playoffs, I think, or at least get a top 6 seed. You have to be a top 10 team in the NBA. And I don't know if the Pelicans are anywhere close to that. So it's a tough situation. I've heard mixed things about Jamahl Mosley. I've heard some really good things. I've heard some not so great things. We'll see. I think he might be the right coach for the right time, but it's going to be a slow build out there.
Ryan says he'll be a major win here if he can get us to the playoffs 2 out of 4 years. I think he'll.
Yeah, because of how good the West is. That's a major project to do that.
We'll see if it happens. Zach Ewing, thank you as always for spending part of your Friday with us. Have a great Memorial Day weekend, and I'm guessing we will talk next Friday here on the show.
All right, Jim. Talk to you then.
All right. Zach Ewing, everybody. Always a lot of fun. And who knows? I mean, look, you get to the doldrums. Look, next week is OTAs are back. OTAs, I believe, are they Wednesday? I can't remember whether they're Wednesday, Thursday, or Thursday, Friday. I know that the day for us in the media is Thursday, and my plan is to be out there next Thursday. So I have not been back out there for a practice. It's been a long time since I've been in the facility. It's been multiple years since I've been to the Saints facility. Now, I've covered games, but I have not covered practices, and I will be back out at the facility. I'm looking forward to that this week. Jerry, welcome. Glad you're here. Also, Ray Son, absolutely. R.I.P. Kyle Busch. We talked about that in the earlier part of the show. Man, what this tragic story. 41 years old. Unbelievable. Mitch Bergeron said, here's a fun what if. What if the injury bug doesn't hit the Saints like the plague starting with the second game in 2024? We look playoff bound those first 2 games. How do we feel about Carr and Allen right now? My answer is this. Probably not the same answer I would have had a couple of years ago, because I really like the direction that this team is taking, obviously. But I don't think they could have sustained that. Look, and we talked about this multiple times back when it happened. But you think about that, and the Eagles game, which was the third game, they had every chance to win the game, right? The team put them in position to win that third game. And then the next week they played Atlanta. Carr drove them down the field. They took the lead late, and the defense couldn't hold the lead. So, I mean, the Saints realistically could have been 4-0 heading into Kansas City on a Monday night. Can you think about what would have been different? Not what might have been different. What would have been different? You know, not just the injuries, but had they won those 2 games and been 4-0, and then if things fell apart, you probably don't fire Allen until after the season, right? Or do you fire him at all? I don't know. Maybe he gets another year if they win those first 4 games. I have no idea, man. I tell you, it's an interesting thing to think about, because that absolutely, I mean, you want to call it, is it fun? I don't know if it's fun, what if, because I think what happened for the better. I mean, now that we're in the situation we're in, say, sorry, Lance, I told you. I warned you. You know, but things would have been a lot different. Ray Son asked, is 7-10 disrespectful of an expectation of the Saints? No, it's not disrespectful, because they're over under. In fact, I never showed this slide, and we never got into it. I meant to. The Saints over under right now, win total is 7.5. That's what it is at Vegas. If you think there's no way the Saints aren't going to win at least 8 games this year, then go bet it. I'm not I'm not telling you to bet it. If you think that you can make money, if you really believe that. I mean, it's not disrespectful to say that. I mean, Jerry's saying unless it's 7 losses and 10, it's not disrespectful. You think right now, if I were forced to give you an exact record of what I thought the Saints were going to be right now, like someone said, here's $1,000. You have to give me your honest opinion right now on what the Saints record is going to be. And by the way, my opinion now might be different in August. So don't say, oh, you're fair. Right? I don't want to hear any of that. Because I told you my final opinion doesn't come until right before the season starts. But if you pin me down, and I said this on Final Bet last night, so I'm going to say it here today, the over-under is 7-10, 7.5 wins. That means that Vegas thinks they'll either be 7-10 or 8-9. Okay? I think that all the media people, I think 85% of the fans, maybe more than 85%, maybe 90% of the fans, and I think probably 90% of the media that covers this team is going to say, oh, they're going to be over 7.5. When Jeff Duncan does this thing every year when he pulls the entire pool of reporters who cover the Saints, every year pulls them all, okay? And he's got like 27, 28 members of the Saints media in their predictions. And almost every year, they're all over. I remember 1 year, like 3 years ago, everyone was over. Everyone took the over. Maybe it was 4 years ago when the over-under was 7.5. It was Derek Carr's, I think it was his first year? And they went 7-10. And every single media member, all 27, 28, or 29 of them, or however many it was, every single one of them took the over. I took the bait and took the over too. And they almost always take the over. Okay? Fans almost always take the over. There is no doubt in my mind. Again, I'd be surprised if it's not 90% of fans. When I poll you, that is going to be a poll question later on in the summer when we get closer to the season. And I give you my official prediction because I don't know what my official prediction is going to be yet. I don't really know what it is. But if I had to say right now, I would say 7-10. And that's no disrespect. To go with what Ray Sun's saying. It's not disrespect to say that, to make a prediction of 7-10. You're not being a hater for thinking they're going to be 7-10. Okay, because that's kind of where they are on this road. They went 5-12 2 years ago. They went 6-11 last year. 7-10 is a natural progression. Would I be surprised if they won 8 games? No. Would I be surprised if they won 9? Kind of. And I got to be honest, I'd be fairly significantly surprised if they won 10. But it's not out of the question. You see the odds to win this division right now. The Buccaneers are favored at plus 160. The Saints are plus 265, which means they're 2.65 to 1 to win the division. And Ryan's 8-9 division where I think it's going to take more than 8 wins to win this division this year. Again, I do. In fact, I'm going to go look this up. Gabe, I don't know if you can look this up quickly. Great. If you can't, you can. It's no big deal. But has any division been won with a sub 500 record, or say 500 or sub 500 record in back-to-back seasons? I doubt it. I seriously doubt it. And I don't think it's going to happen here. I don't think the NFC South is that bad. Now, it's not going to shock me if any of these 4 teams win the division. But I don't think it's going to be with 8 wins. I think it's going to take 9 wins or more to win this division. And again, I don't think the Saints are going to win 9. Now, that being said, I still think that this team is better than any Saints team. And I mean any, including the one that won 9 games a couple years ago. I think this Saints team is better than any Saints team. But there's certainly more hope for this Saints team than any team that's been here since Drew Brees left. But that being said, they still have, I think that first 2 games that you can mark 0-2 down. You can just mark, and when you're talking about you're just marking 0-2 down. So that means to win 8 games, if they go 0-2, then they have to go 8-7 the rest of the way. Is that hard to do? Of course it isn't. But there are lots of roadblocks in this schedule. Gabe says he's going to share the answer when it comes on. And we'll have that in just a minute for you. Who Dat Daddy says 10 wins, guys. Come on. Look, if you want fanboy, you should know this by now. Who Dat Daddy and everybody else, y'all know this by now. This ain't a fanboy podcast. I tell you what I think. Whenever you hear something from my lips, okay, if I tell you one day I think the Saints are going to win 10 games, you know I really believe it. I am never going to tell you something I don't believe, okay? Doesn't mean I'm a hater. But I'm not going to tell you something I don't believe. I believe that the hope for this team right now is the highest it's been in 5 years. That I can tell you with total honesty. I don't think that equals 10 wins. Hey, it's okay if you're a fanboy. Absolutely. 100%. Be one. Lance, you said 10 wins last year, my friend. Just saying. We're better at receiver, running back, in the line. That has to count for some wins. Here's the reason. Yeah, it counts for one win, in my opinion. I'm telling you, I think, and here's my reasoning real quick, and we're going to get to Gabe because we got to get rolling. We got to get moving and get the holiday weekend started for not just me, for everybody. But I agree with all that. However, I think Tyler Shuck is going to take a step backward. Doesn't mean I don't think he's going to be good. I think he's going to take a step backward. And you got to remember, folks, okay? I know you don't want to hear this, but we keep it real on this show. What do we think the odds are that Tyler Shuck is going to make it through 17 games without missing one due to injury? Again, I'm just being real. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm not wishing it's going to happen. None of that. But you got to be realistic about things, okay? And the fact is that quarterbacks, it's probably 50-50 if you go through the league, quarterbacks making it through an entire season. It's different these days. So, but even if he does make it 17 games, I think he's going to take a slight step backwards I think he's got to come back a little bit before you go back up. Do I think he's the future at quarterback for the team? Probably. I think there's a good chance that he's a franchise quarterback. However, there's probably going to be some regression. Rocky thinks 9. Earl says 7 wins would be a disappointment. I'm not saying Earl and everybody else, I'm not saying you're supposed to be happy if the Saints win 7 games. I'm not telling you that you go out there and I hope they win. I'm not saying that I hope they win 7 games. I think the ceiling is 10. I think the floor is 6. That's my opinion. So the average of that would be 8, but I'm going to take the under. Again, Vegas doesn't make money for a reason. All of y'all all the people watching this right now who are betting are going to take the over. Okay. Or almost everybody. Let's just be real. When we come and we have that poll question, and we already had it once, but when we have the real poll question, we ask you for your final prediction, and we say, how many wins do you think the Saints are going to have? And maybe we'll just keep it to two answers, Gabe. Maybe we'll do this when we have this poll question. Maybe we'll have you vote either one or two. Will they have more than 7.5 wins, or will they have fewer than 7.5 wins? And I'll just keep it at that. And I would be willing to bet the answer, except for UBN, is going to be a unanimous over 7.5. UBN's going to vote under 7.5 just to vote under 7.5. Ryan says maybe 9. He thinks most fans are pretending the first 9 games happened last year. Exactly. Hart said on his next podcast episode, he projected 9 wins, but it could go from anywhere to 6 to 11. Right. Rocky says 70% chance that they win more than 7.5. Well, I mean, then you're ahead of Vegas, because Vegas thinks it's almost 50-50. He thinks Vegas odds are implying there's about a 52 to 53% chance the Saints will win more than 7.5 games. Rayson also says you have to consider rest disadvantages, injury clusters, offensive line sustainability, late season fatigue, travel accumulation, defensive volatility, organizational history, and regression. Again, regression is a huge deal. Good morning, Nola, man. Glad you're here. We absolutely go through this every year. And look, who dat daddy? I might change my mind. I can tell you now, I probably won't go above 8. I won't go above 8 and 9 for my projected record. But right now, if you pin me down right this minute, I would say 7 and 10. You know who would say 17-0 for? If they had to make a prediction of 17-0, Evangeline Securities. I would say they were going to go 17-0. because they can help you figure out what your family-run or privately held business might be worth and whether it's time to sell. And you might be asking, how do they do it? And I would say that's a fantastic question. After their complimentary valuation of your company, if you decide to proceed, native New Orleanian Nick Braden and the folks at Evangeline, they will begin an extensive auction process from among established private equity funds from around the whole wide world, not just the NFC South, the whole wide world. They'll maximize the return for the founder and his or her family. Evangeline Securities, they're the top producer on their platform. There are very few companies like them in this area, and 0.0 with their dedication and success. They're fully licensed. They're ready to serve you. So get in touch with Nick Braden about what's really important. And it's certainly not win totals in the month of May. You know what's really important? The rest of your life. You can find them at www.evangelinesecurities.com. Sav says, win 8, no more than 9. You got to love that transition. It's like I've done this before, Lance. You know who else has done this before? Gabe Henderson's done this before. And he's here again on this Friday. Go ahead.
I haven't done this 508 times like you have, though.
Well, you got to start somewhere. You're here. Mm-hmm. All right. What is your answer?
So, but before we dive into that, I want to go back to a comment because I'm glad a Saints fan said this and I wasn't the one to say it. Because if I said it, I'd be labeled a Debbie Downer. But just revisiting this comment from Ryan, where he says, I think most fans are pretending the first 9 games didn't happen last year. It was all sunshine and rainbows when the Saints conveniently played some of the worst teams in the league who had nothing to play for.
Yeah.
So I'm saying temper your expectations as to where I think
you are such an a-hole, Gabe. You just got to piss on everybody's parade.
I think Hart. I think his range for the wins is a little large. Anywhere from 6 to 11 is a bit big for me. I'm in the camp. I've narrowed it down to anywhere between 7.
Hold on. I'm going to. Here's my range, and I'm going to give it as the Hurricane Prediction Center would give it. I think the Saints will win anywhere between 1 and 17 games this year. That's how the Hurricane Prediction Center would do it. So
statistically, that is probable. Yes.
Well,
What have there only been three teams to not win a game? 2?
Yeah, I guess so.
Lions and the Browns might only be 2.
Yeah, I guess so. That's something along those lines. All right. Here's the look at the minimum salaries over the years. By the way, my Felton, who watches the show religiously and listens to it, yeah, you're right. I mean, $1.3 million is the minimum salary for the 2026 season. It goes up to $1.345 million next year.
1.367 after that.
1.39. You're close. But back, let's see what was it in 2006? In 2000, just 20 years ago, it was $810,000.
I was going to guess 800,000. So that's close.
You'd have been right on it. So anyway, all right, what you got for me today?
So to answer your question from earlier, there are only 5 NFL teams since the merger in 2002 that have won a division with a sub 500 record.
5 teams since when you say the merger.
Well, not the merger, the expansion in 2002.
Okay.
But so there are 2 teams before that. The 82 Browns and Lions both won their division at 4 and 5. But that was a strike.
Yeah, that was a strike year. So it wasn't a division though. That definitely doesn't count because there were no divisions. It was done by conferences.
So
they
reached the playoffs. Is the little note.
Playoffs. Cheshire Cat says, I think you're right about Chuck. Step back teams will be more aware of Chuck. I mean, it's only natural that he played 9 games. It's not like It's not like he has a whole season on his belly either. I mean, it's only natural that he would have a regression. I'm not saying he's going to stink. I think he's going to have a fine season. It'll be okay. But I mean, look at your quarter. Look, I mean, CJ Stroud after his rookie year, he had a good sophomore season, I think, but then he kind of took a step back a little bit. It's just natural for guys who are going to be stars in this league. And I still have a ton of confidence in CJ Stroud. That's why I use him as an example. But you don't know what it's going to be year to year early on in their careers. They can't all be Patrick Mahomes. They can't all be Josh Allen. Okay, they can't all be whatever. You can't all be Lamar Jackson. They can't all be MVPs. They're going to have stumbling blocks, and I think that when you go into a second season and maybe even a third season, there's going to be a little bit of regression again as teams adjust, and then the quarterback adjusts again, and then So I think it's more about what are they over the course of like 4 years, and we only have 9 sample games,
and that's why. No matter what I said about Chuck before he was drafted, I'm not ready to concede on any opinions after 9 games. And Lance makes a point. Lots of weapons added. I don't think this year's offense will look anything. I agree with you, but here's the thing. How do we know that those guys are going to slot seamlessly into this offense?
Exactly.
Let's just play. Let's play devil's advocate. Okay, McCoy gets hurt again. Edwards maybe doesn't fit. Etienne's not very efficient, and Jordan Tyson gets hurt.
That's right. And we're not saying all those things can happen, but there's certainly a fairly sizable chance that one of those things happen or 2 of those things happen. So for sure, I mean, you never know.
Exactly. So for everyone who's so excited about all these new additions, you should be as a fan. I'm not trying to say you shouldn't be at all, but to that point, there's somewhere in the middle. The quote unquote haters are going to say that, people have film on Shuck now. He only played bad teams. He's not going to be very good. And other people are going to say, 9 games. He was fantastic. Right. He's the future.
And it's somewhere
realistically, it's somewhere in between.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think that's absolutely true. And look, again, am I saying he's going to have a bad year? No. But look, 7 years, I'm not saying that I'm not hoping the Saints win 7 games, but if the Saints won 7 games, and let's say that, because what happens a lot of times a lot of times teams like this who are up and coming, they're going to lose a lot of close games. I could see the Saints losing 5 one-possession games, right? I could see the Saints blowing leads in like 4 games. That means they're on the right track. And then the next year you turn those around and you make 7 wins, could easily turn into 11 wins. And so do I think they're going to win 11 games in 2027? I have no idea. Ask me next year at this time. But that's usually what happens when you're talking about young teams. You learn how to play together, and those close losses, which I think the odds makers expect the Saints to have a lot of close losses. We talked about this the other day. They are 3.5-point dogs or fewer in, I think, 6 games next year. So Vegas thinks they're going to have a lot of close losses. I think they're going to have a lot of close losses. Then you turn those around, and then you win some more the year after that. Kyle Sherman says, Edwards is a fit, one of the smartest guards in the league. Injuries are always the issue. Shuck played B teams with C talent. I don't disagree with any of that. I think Edwards is probably the least likely of the things Gabe said.
Yeah, I want to clarify. I was not saying that Edwards will not be.
Right. He's just saying things that
I was solely playing devil's advocate for the sake of playing devil's advocate.
Yeah, you stole UBN spotlight, so he was upset about that.
So back to the sub 500 division winners. Just some interesting trivia on that. I'm sure you can name a couple. Do you think you can?
The Seattle Seahawks were 7-9 in beast mode, beast quake game. Let's see the other ones. Trying to think, there was another 7. With Washington, did they do it once? No, huh?
They did in 2020. They were 7-9.
Okay, that came to mind. Trying to think who else. Is there one in the AFC West?
Want a hint? Do what?
Is there one in the AFC West?
There is not. All 3 of the remaining teams who were sub 500 and won a division came from the NFC South.
Oh, yeah, and I just assumed that we talked about those. Carolina.
There's any division to win with a sub 500 record. It is. But to answer your first question, no, there has never been a division winner at sub 500 in back-to-back seasons in the season.
Yeah, and I don't think it's going to happen. So the chances of it happening are slim to none. And then you go back before that, and we can look it all up. But you're talking about before 2002 when they had fewer playoff teams. It almost certainly didn't happen before then. So I would venture to say, again, I can look at this later and dive into it, but I don't think it's ever happened where a division winner has been sub 500 in back-to-back seasons. And again, the chances of it happen. Exactly. So the chances of it happening this year it's not just because happened last year. It's slim to none. I mean, teams just
Yeah,
it just doesn't happen.
To answer my own question, 2014 Carolina won it at 7-8-1. 2022 Tampa Bay 8-9, and then obviously last year Carolina won it at 8-9 as well.
All right, let's move on. And before we end the show today, we have a modified Dat Date of sorts. Okay, we're gonna do what we did on Wednesday. I kind of like this. I may stick with this. Okay, I'm gonna give you some birthdays, and then maybe you can give me some trivia, and we'll see how we do. We'll just turn the tables, at least for today. I promise that Wednesday when we return, I promise sort of maybe Dat Date will be here. Maybe we'll go back to our original format. But we'll start out with the birthdays. There are 2 local birthdays. One, you might even say who, you don't even realize is a Saint, but did you know that running back Ty Chandler is a member of the New Orleans Saints? Well, he is. He could be, who knows? Maybe he'll step into one of those roles. Maybe he'll get a chance to play. He is 28 years old today. Going back into Saints history, maybe some of you will remember this, and only like three potential people will even realize what I said. Marcus Dowdell. We say, remember when they used to say, there it is. Oop, there it is. We used to say Marcus Dowdell. Marcus Dowdell. The wide receiver, the great Marcus Dowdell, is 56 years old today. Another former Saint who was probably better known for being an Oklahoma Sooner and a member of the New Orleans Breakers. Marcus Dupree is 62 years old. And then a shout out, I told you earlier, and I bet he doesn't know this, but my son Blair turned 28 years old yesterday. Well, one of his favorite players, if not his favorite player, is Josh Allen. Josh Allen turned 30 years old yesterday. So shout out, there you go. I'm going to tell Blair later on that probably didn't know that. Then a couple other birthdays around the world of sports, celebrity sports birthdays on May 22nd. The great Novak Djokovic, more tennis on this show, is 39 years old today. Julian Edelman. How old do you think Julian Edelman is, Gabe?
36.
40. He's 40.
Oh, okay.
How about Anthony Richardson? His birthday is today. How old do we think Anthony Richardson is?
Is Anthony Richardson 24?
25. Anthony Richardson, the great Anthony Richardson, is 25. And then finally, Tommy John. That's right. They named the surgery after him. Tommy John. How old do you think Tommy John is?
I have no clue.
You got to guess, man.
58.
I'm almost 58. You think Tommy John and I are almost the same age? Good Lord.
I have no clue. I don't know anything about Tommy John other than the damn surgery.
He's 83 years old. Oh, Tommy John is 83. All right. What you got for that date in history? 58. Come on, man.
I don't know. It's like me asking you, Jim, how old do you think Alejandro Garnacho is?
Who is first tell me who he is.
Exactly. He's a soccer player.
Who is he? All right, I'm going to guess. He is 29.
He's not. He's 21.
Damn it. I missed it by. I was closer than you were, damn it.
Yeah.
I could have said one and I'd have been closer than you were.
Exactly.
All right, go ahead. Anyway, what else we got?
So just some fun things that happen on this date. I'm going to, trust me, I'll after your disgust that you showed last time, I will try and leave the soccer out of it.
Thanks.
Unless it's a really big thing. But there's some really fun baseball events. And this is, I mean, baseball's been around so damn long and there's so many aspects of it. You're always going to get some fun baseball tidbits that happen on this day. So on this day in 1883, the Cubs' Billy Sunday has his first at bat. Billy Sunday has his first career at bat. It begins his streak of 14 consecutive strikeouts to start his career.
Wow. That shows you how good the Cubs were good, how good they were in 1983.
1 year later, one-armed pitcher Hugh Daly struck out 13 batters in a start.
Against the Cubs?
No, I don't.
Actually, the Cubs were good in 1984. I'm completely joking.
I'm talking 1884.
Oh, 1884.
1884. Yeah.
The one-armed pitcher.
One-armed pitcher.
What's his name again?
Hugh Daly.
The great Hugh Daly. Okay. Exciting.
Kicking it a few years later, 1930, Lou Gehrig becomes the first player in MLB history to hit 3 home runs in a game 3 times as the Yankees outscored the Philadelphia A's 20-13.
Okay, well, the Cubs and Phillies at once played I think it was 24-23 game.
38. The Dodgers announced.
This needs some music. Hold on. This needs some music while you're doing this. Go ahead.
1938, the Dodgers announced contracts to install lights at Ebbets Field.
Okay.
What else?
What else you got?
In 1985, Pete Rose scored his 2,108th run to pass Hank Aaron as the National League career runs leader.
You didn't ask me anything.
Yeah, there's not. I mean, those are. I don't know if you would have necessarily known any of those. You need to brush up on your Hugh Daly trivia.
I mean, you could have said this dude had one appendage. Guess which one it is. I mean, I might have got.
I've got one for you.
All right.
Who won the 2001 Laureus World Sports Award for the Sportsman of the Year? 2001.
And this could be any sport.
This could be any sport. Think of athletes that were big in 2001.
The Laureus what? What is it called?
The Laureus World Sports Award for Sportsman of the Year.
Tiger Woods.
Narrow down your pool. It is, it is a man.
Tiger Woods.
It is Tiger Woods.
Oh,
Good
wait,
job.
hold on.
Yeah, that's right.
There you go.
Stick that up your keister, Lance. I think I can't get him right. Anyway.
That's really not a ton.
You think
a bunch of...
you should be levitating or something? It's really time to say. I mean, we're getting like way off the rails of the crazy train. What are you going to do this weekend?
Not a ton.
It's all right. I don't want to mess up my record. I'm 1-0. I got Tiger Woods. I am
there
Tiger
you go.
Woods.
You did. Good job.
I don't want to mess it up. What are you going to do this weekend?
Not much. Maybe some cleaning. Oh, very exciting.
Well, I'm almost certainly going to do some cleaning because my wife's going to make sure of that. But I'm also going to do some sleeping, damn it. I need to do some sleeping. He wants to know Sportsman of the Year. Did the votes come from? Oh, come on, man. Why are you hating on Tiger like that? Don't be hating on Tiger. Just because he's going to cost you $1,000 soon. That's a whole different story. All right, well, enjoy your weekend, and we will see you on Wednesday, my friend, with a TBA, a guest to be announced. We have no idea who it's going to be.
And a Dat Date where I might just be looking at random.
I promise that Dat Date is going to come back. Sort of promise, maybe. Whatever.
It'll be back in some capacity,
in some form,
whether it's
exactly
this new modified form or the old form.
And maybe, and I really like the music. From now on, we got to put the music back. I got to find some better music to put back there. But
yeah, that sounds like Enya. I'm not a big Enya fan.
All right, well, Enya what?
Going there.
I'll leave you
going
on
that hard left, as
on
Lance would say.
And that note. See you later. All right. Well, we're definitely going off the rail in the crazy. Lance says this show's taking a hard left. Hey, do what you got to do when you're a little wacky, a little crazy. It's been a long, weird, crazy week. So why not take this show somewhere? We have fun in this show. It's not just about Saints. We do other things. We try to have fun. That's the way we had fun today. We like to start with fun, end with fun, and in between, the show just sucks. But you're here anyway. Kidding. Sort of. That's why Evangeline Securities and Joe DiStefano Insurance, that's why they stick around with us. This show sucks, but by God, we're going to stay here and help them. You know? Or something along those lines. Hey, you know how the best way you can help us? Stay on the air. Because by God, we want to help this show stay on the air. Help this show stay on the air by, if you have not already done so, please subscribe to the Dattitude podcast on our YouTube page. That is the best way. And if not, you just want to check us out on Facebook, you can do that too. Make sure you follow me on Facebook. Whatever you want to do. Whatever makes you feel good. Give us a thumbs up. Give us a like. They say it helps the algorithm. I'm all about helping algorithms these days. When you're in my boat, pal, and you're doing like 18 jobs, you help them out. You know, you do whatever you got to do. So help the algorithm. Give us a thumbs up, a like. Give us click on the little bell to receive notifications when we go on the air live, which is normally every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 11 a.m. Central Time. However, we are taking Memorial Day off. Gabe said, I got to have a break. I need a break. And I said, I can't do the show without you. And I said, okay, we'll just take Monday off. Or something along those lines. So, yeah. Next show will be Wednesday, May the 27th. You can also find us wherever you get your podcasts, including Apple, Spotify, many more. And don't worry, Lance will be back on Wednesday to talk about your favorite all-time ever Saint. I'm sure the name Carr will come up at some point. Just kidding. Well, I'm probably not kidding. It probably will come up at some point. Just saying. Yeah, and all that. We hope you have a wonderful, fantastic, glorious. Remember the reason why we have an extra day off this week. Remember that. We hope you have a wonderful, fantastic, glorious Memorial Day weekend. We will see you all on Wednesday. And until then, take it easy, my friends.